So let's talk. I'm kind of curious what Anthony has to say in Florida. Says that you want to call us out for hypocrisy about lack of belief in God. What are we cherry picking?
Yeah, hi guys. I've called before, so thanks for putting me back on. Hope to have a civil conversation.
Sure.
Hypocrisy. I'll start this way. This goes for both Jenna and Matt. Would you vote for a politician who believes in God, who's like actively religious?
Yes, I just did. I voted just the other day, and since the two primary, both the Republican and the Democrat claim to believe in God, then I voted for one of the two of them, and so I voted for someone who claims to believe in God, as I've done every time I voted.
Mm-hmm.
So you have no issue with that. So would you vote?
No.
Santa Claus or the East?
No.
Hang on, Anthony. We didn't say we didn't have an issue with it. You asked us if we would, and I would, and I did. That is not the one and only criteria on which I base my vote. And by the way, there are atheists who I would not vote for. That is not the one and only issue that I base my voting on. But that doesn't mean I'm fine with voting in yet another God-bothering theocratic, whatever. There are problems with it. I'm choosing the better of whatever options are presented to me to vote for me. That's it.
So you would vote for a politician, like I said, that believes in Santa Claus, Easter Bunny.
No, I didn't say that. Why is it that
Why,
Anthony, you ask a question, we answer it, then you mischaracterize our answer and we clarify, and then you mischaracterize our answer again. You didn't ask me if I'd vote for someone who actually believed in Santa Claus, did you?
Okay, well, I'm sorry, Matt. That's the question. Would you?
I have no idea, because when I'm evaluating politicians, it would never occur to me to ask them or care much about whether or not they believe in Santa Claus. What I'm concerned about are their policies and what they're going to do for the United States. So I'm hoping you hurry up and get to the point where I'm hypocritical. Otherwise, it just seems like you're confused about what our position is, because even after telling you twice, you intentionally mischaracterized it twice.
Well, I apologize. Maybe I misunderstood. But by hypocritical, what I'm trying to say is, like, I understand you guys' beliefs that you're atheists, you're not asserting that there's no God or whatever. But in your heart of hearts, like, if someone put a gun to your head, obviously you would say, no, I don't think there's a God. Am I correct with that?
Correct. Well, no, I don't know. Because if the person putting their gun to my head said, tell me that you believe in a God or I'm going to shoot you, then I'm going to say, yes, I believe in a God. Can you just ask a straightforward, honest question instead of asking these questions that are designed to show something? Because I don't want to be a prick, but you're doing a really bad job. You asked us if we'd vote for somebody who believed in God. We said yes. You mischaracterized that. We clarified it. You mischaracterized that. And now we're going on about what we would do with a gun to our head. This is not the what would you do with a gun to your head experience show. What's the point we're trying to get to?
Was to demonstrate that the point I'm trying to get to is if you had to make an absolute definitive answer, if you had to give somebody an answer, do you believe in God or not? You would say,
no, I don't believe in God. I don't have to think about it for a second.
I want to know why it matters so much to you.
Yeah, he called in to point out we're hypocritical, and yet he's asking questions and getting nowhere. So what do we need to do, Anthony?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to explain it, but I don't know if I'm not thoroughly explaining or not. By using the analogy of a politician who believes in Christianity versus a politician who believes in Zuzu, the space god or whatever, obviously you're going to find one more outrageous than the other, correct?
So here, let me help you, Anthony. If I knew nothing else about a candidate, you want to know, am I more likely to vote for a candidate who believes in the Christian God or a candidate who believes in, let's say, Scientology, if I knew nothing else about them?
Exactly.
Right? If that's all I knew, I would vote for the Christian, only because we can demonstrate that Scientology is a fictionally invented religion in our lifetime. And that is not as easy to do with Christianity. And I know that the most people who identify as Christian aren't really worried that much about God or religion or promoting religion. That's just a function of their culture. It's like voting for someone who watched Saturday morning cartoons growing up. That's just who you are. However, I'm never going to be in a position, I hope, where I'm being asked to vote for someone and the only thing I know about them is whether they like Jesus or Xenu. So why do we need a fictional scenario? Because if there was a Christian and an atheist running and that's all I knew about both of them, I would vote for the atheist. But if I know more about them, I would vote for many Christians over many atheists. Now that we've discussed how I go about voting, which is based primarily on policy and not about whether or not somebody's religion, please get to the point about where we're hypocritical.
The point of, well, okay, when I say you're hypocritical, it goes for not just for Matt and Jenna, this goes for the atheist community in general. And by
that can't be true then, because the atheist community in general doesn't agree on everything. But stop with the preamble and get to the accusation.
Well, there's no preamble, Matt. I've already made
all of this is no, all of this is preamble. Please tell me what we're hypocritical about.
Okay, just for example, the fact that you the Mormon side or the Mormon.
Nope, sorry. I'm done with you. I don't see any point to that call. We are not solving any problems. We are not fixing anything.
By the way, you can email TV at Atheist Community, and if you come up with a point where we're hypocritical, that's fine. But I don't know how long that call was.
Too long. But when you think about all of these hypothetical situations, what would you do if this really extreme scenario happened? Yeah. Well, I'm not worried about it because that's a really extreme scenario, so it's not very likely to happen. I'm more likely to think about things that are really going to happen.
Yeah. So, you know what else is more likely? I'm aging. And what's more likely is that at some point in the future, I may become addled, mentally defective or deficient at some point. I may eventually, like Anthony Flew and some others, find myself advocating for God belief. But the reason that I'll have done it is because I will have lost my faculties and my ability to reason. And at that point, the Atheist Community of Austin and everybody else should make sure that I'm taken care of and not out on a stage providing ammunition to people like Anthony who think there's something hypocritical about, you voted for a Christian. Yes, you know what? I love many Christians. I have many Christians in my family. I don't hate Christians. I despise Christianity. I don't hate the religious. I despise their religion and what their religions do. And I don't know. If you genuinely think there's something hypocritical, then it should be easy to make that case and not just go, well, would you vote for this? Well, would you vote for that? Well, would you vote for that?